Welcome back. Second serve coverage rolls on the Monday. It's the last day of our coverage. Beautiful Miami as we're not quite ready for the night session. In 11 minutes, we will start there. It'll be De Minaur and Fonseca and Berrettini in Bergs on the court in Grandstand. If you want to focus on that tennis, go to Tennis Channel or go to the TC app. But our next guest is ready, and we still have a lot of business to take care of here in Miami. But after this, the clay season kind of has its official start. And the one event, of course, in the States we'll be covering will be the Houston event, ATP 250. So let's bring in the tournament director of that event right now, Bronwyn Greer. Nice of us to join us here on our second serve coverage. There she is, Bronwyn.
How are you?
It is great to see you. You got myself and you got Tracy and Jimmy. I know it's probably busy as you're getting ready for your event, but are you got a chance to follow the tennis this week in Miami?
Yeah, a lot actually. Yeah, it's kind of nice. And you do pay a little more attention as it gets closer because you want everyone, those guys that you've got coming, you want to see them doing well. So we actually just finished watching the Harrison and King match. We're excited to see them coming to Houston for doubles this year. So yeah, definitely follow more than I would the rest of the year.
Nice.
Bronwyn, I always love playing there in Houston. As you know, I live in Austin. It was so close for me, and I love all the events that you put on. It truly feels like a home tournament, and because all the members love it. And I'm looking at your list and lineup. You've got Frances Tiafoe, Riley Opelka, 2 past champions, and next gen Lerner Tien, Alex Mickelson. Are all the members just so pumped to have everyone there?
They are. When we announced our field, I think the resounding effect was, oh, dang, it's good again this year. It was great last year. We have another great field this year. So everyone is pretty excited for it. And I think as it gets closer, just that excitement level ramps up because they do feel like it's in their backyard. So yeah, we're getting very excited.
So Bronwyn, you wear so many hats. I want to know, do you have a calendar? Because you've been the tournament director, I don't know, 7, 9, something like that. A lot of years. Do you have a calendar of we need to do X by this certain date? We need to get our tournament players by this certain date, and how you manage the schedule, and then also the wild cards that everybody asks for coming in. I'm sure you got, how many, by the way,
especially Brandon Holt needs one now.
He doesn't.
Brandon Holt.
He doesn't need one. But
Brandon's actually, he is in qualifying right now, but I think it looks like he's going to get a main draw based on some change.
All right.
That's a good thing. But yeah, it is. I think anyone who knows me knows I'm a pretty organized person, and there are definitely times of the year where certain things happen on a schedule and on a calendar. I do start to talk to players in New York. It feels like it starts earlier and earlier every year, but wild cards, funny you mention it. We haven't given any out yet. We always hold on to them until usually this week to see what happens in Miami first and second week. You never know who you might get out of that, but we'll give them out as we get later into this week. But it's exciting. And I think the number of players that have expressed interest, even the last few days, I've had more requests come in. So we're continuing to grow our event and the popularity. It's always been our goal to be the best 250 out there.
Talk a little bit about the venue itself. It's sort of historic, River Oaks, and also the fact, what makes the tournament different? I mean, one of the things, do they still house the players in members' houses? It's maybe one of the only tournaments on the tour that does that as well.
We do, actually. Nick stayed in housing for quite a few years.
I love it.
Stayed in touch with the family. Sometimes would reach out before we even did. But it is one of the neat things. The players, Tommy Paul this year is doing it. He's staying right outside, the front gate, pretty close. Francis stays in housing as well. That's very close. So it's a neat thing. It gives them the opportunity to feel like they're home for a week instead of in another hotel. And it is a long-standing tradition. Prior to it becoming an ATP event, they housed every player. There wasn't a hotel. Anyone who came was staying in housing.
Bronwyn,
so it is something that we look at
follow that
pretty fondly, and I think guys get used to it.
Before Chiz has a question, Brandon in his housing, they came to watch him during some other events as well. So that's so important.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, John Isner stayed with the same family for 10 years because he kept coming back, and that family went to his wedding.
I love that.
You get to know them pretty well and stay in touch. So
wow. We were nerding out the other week on court surfacing and getting into the sand and the thickness of the sand for hard courts. We're speaking with a representative from Lakehold that does now the courts for Indian Wells in Miami. I've always noticed that the clay, of course it's red clay, but it's like this maroon color. Is there anything intriguing behind that slightly darker color of clay that we see in Houston?
Um, it is American red clay. It's not the European red clay. So we're pretty clear on that distinction to make sure that the players know that, because it is different when you come here and then go to Europe. However, you're still getting that same level of slide as you go across the back of the court. I think some might say it's a little bit grittier, but other than that, we feel like it gives them a great start to heading over to Europe afterwards.
Bronwyn, what's the most rewarding thing and maybe some of the tougher things that you've had to encounter being the tournament director there in Houston?
Rain.
Oh, we hate rain here.
I get asked about the forecast more than anything.
Yeah.
I don't honestly look at it. There's nothing we can do. We just have to wait it out. I think the hardest days of my career was 2 years ago. We got rained out for 3 days in a row. Nobody wants that. I mean, you're just, as a player, Nick, you would know, guys are just asking you, when do you think we're going to play? I mean, can you tell me when it's going to stop raining? So,
Bronwyn, I was reading about you a little bit, and there was something I'm finding it hard to believe that this is true, so I'm asking you. You were a rugby player?
yeah, I was. I played college rugby.
Did that help you as a tournament director in some way? If the players are giving you a hard time, you have no problem tackling them?
I think
tackling
I've
them?
done pretty
Jimmy,
good saying no,
geez.
maybe.
So
It's probably the
aggressive,
best,
Jimmy.
but-
That's amazing.
What are some of the strangest requests? You don't have to tell us who, but can you
do
give
it.
us some of the most difficult?
Just give us the initials. Give us the initials.
No initials.
Yeah, no, we're not. There's no sharing from that perspective. I'm going to
know.
keep that clean.
So that's it.
I think it usually comes down to different things that people want food-wise. I mean, you guys have seen a lot of these guys are now sponsored by Chipotle or partners with them. You think they eat so healthy, and then you're like, that burrito is the size of your face. That
I
something's
love
not adding
Chipotle.
up.
We can't knock Chipotle. I love it. It's healthy.
I'm serious though. So you just, when you think somebody's going to eat something that they maybe should or shouldn't, but it seems to be very popular.
And then some people.
Yeah, I think it's usually around food requests.
What about the night matches, or they want the day matches, or they want this time or that time? Is anything specific like that?
I shockingly get very few of those, and I don't know if it's because of the stadium and the intimacy of it, that you feel like no matter what, our fans are sticking around and they're watching until the wee hours. Last year, with the exception of one match last year, every single one of our matches went split sets in the stadium, and we have fans to the end. I think for the players, that says a lot. You don't, you're not as worried about when you're playing if the fans are there to support you.
Awesome crowds. We see some winning moments from Shelton last year. Big change this year was that the tours for the clay court events are all using ELC, electronic line calling. Have you been looking forward to that? And we've been talking about that with all the clay tournament directors, but are there any byproducts of that change that fans might not realize, like secondary things that become affected?
We've been talking about it for a couple of years now, and we had the opportunity to do it earlier and chose not to. I actually think we were the last ATP event to have actual umpires last year in April. And then the change, a lot of people went forward with it. I think the difference that you'll see is without the umpires, it's less up to personal decision, I guess you could say. With the cameras there, it's hard to judge that a camera is wrong. I think now that you've seen it in the slams, you saw it start in Australia. You even heard Wimbledon announce it over the weekend that they are doing it as well. I think it gives credence to the idea that it is something that works and that the players have a level of trust in.
Bronwyn, maybe explain to some of the fans all the events that you all have going on, because I know for players, we love kind of the all-white party, the player party that you have. There's a fashion show. What are all the events that you put on there in Houston that maybe a lot of the people don't know about?
Sure. The players party is definitely a hit. If I'm being honest, I actually took that idea from the Acapulco tournament when I was there for a week. They do this all white party on the beach, and I thought, well, this is a great idea. We can definitely do it. I mean, it won't be on a beach, but we can make it happen. And so we get about 600 guests out to it, but all the players now show up.
A lot of the players here or Miami are still talking about it. They're ready to go and be there. So
yeah, they bring their white attire. We remind them every year. We have, I think actually it was one of the trainers, Clay Snipeman, who got it really started and said, you guys got to bring it. You got to go. But the players do love it. We don't ask anything of them to come to the party. Just have a good time, enjoy. They will take some pictures and sign some autographs, but for the most part, people leave them alone and just kind of let them have a good time. So I think that's well received.
And
then
you guys do a
you
fashion
mentioned
show
our
as
fashion
well.
show.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that picture of snow there. I can't even, it still is just, that's crazy. That was just like a month and a half ago.
Oh,
Was it really?
But,
Jeez.
Unbelievable.
yeah, that was our stadium. And it stuck for like an overnight.
That's
Oh, geez.
unbelievable.
And what about the
Crazy.
fashion show?
But
Can
we do
you
a
do the fashion show on
throughout the
snow?
week too that takes place. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You're ready to rock. We're ready to rock. We still have to finish up Miami, but we always get pumped when we turn to the clay court season, and it's going to all be right here on Tennis Channel 2. So we're glad we had you on the program today to get everyone teased and pumped for it. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with everything
course, I
as the event
appreciate it.
approaches.
yeah. Thanks for running such a great
I'll
tournament.
see you there in Houston, Bronwyn.
Thanks, Bronwyn. Be good.
Yeah.
Good luck
Sounds
this
good.
year.
Thank you, guys.
See you
Have a great
soon.
day.
Thanks.
Oh, Nick's going to be there.
Nick's everywhere.
He's
I'm
everywhere.
going to be there.
I was
Yeah,
gonna-
Michael Mo's playing there, so I'm going to be there with Michael. Yeah, getting him on the dirt.